Returning to a previously installed policy due to the fact that a mistake was made, or some other reason, works slightly different in R80.10 versus the previous releases of R77 and below. Let's take a look. Here we have a simple policy to show how this works. Let's simulate a problem where you might need to revert the policy to an earlier version. An alarming call comes in from Rachel in the finance department. She needs to download a file from an FTP server used by a third-party controller, urgently. This was working earlier this morning, but now she is prevented from downloading the file. She needs the document right away, as the information is crucial for financial reporting. As the security administrator, you could start looking through logs and find the issue by investigating, but that might take some time and the problem needs to be resolved right now. Since the problem wasn't there earlier this morning, you can check to see if any updates to the policy were made. In the Access Tools section at the bottom, you can find the installation history. For the selected gateway, you see that Jeremy, another security admin, had pushed a new policy earlier. R80.10 Security Management Server saves each policy install as a new version, which will allow you to go back to a previous version whenever needed. Since you know that the problem did not exist earlier today, you can safely assume that the policy before the last install worked. To revert back to a previous policy, select the last working policy to install. You can view this policy by clicking on the View button, or to see the changes, click on the View Install Changes. But for now, we will just go ahead and click on Install Specific Version. In the next window, click on Install. An earlier version of the policy is now installed in the gateway, and Rachel can now get to the documents she needs. The management server still shows the latest policy, which includes all the changes that Jeremy had pushed to the gateway earlier today. If this policy would be installed, it would reintroduce the problem Rachel was having. Let's see what tools we have to resolve the issue with the current policy. You can open the current running policy on the gateway by going to Installation History, select the latest reverted policy at the top of the list, and click View. You can compare the policy with the policy loaded in Smart Console and see if you can find the differences here. With a large policy, this will be a time-consuming task. As there was a specific problem, you can investigate the logs. Open Logs and Monitor and go to the Logs tab. If the Logs tab isn't open, go to the Plus tab, which opens up a new tab, and select Open Log View at the top. Since the issue was with FTP, do a search on the service FTP. You will find the logs that shows FTP being dropped. Double-click the log entry and view the details. You can find the rule that is associated with the dropped connection, and by clicking on the rule number, it will take you directly to the rule in the policy. At the bottom, go to the History tab and see the changes made to this rule. We notice that the description does not match the actual rule. The description indicates that the rule would block file upload, but the rule implements a block for FTP for file uploads and downloads. Depending on the freedom you have to change policy, you can take the action to correct this rule, which is changing the direction of FTP from any direction to up. Or you can contact the administrator who created this rule, Jeremy in this case, and discuss the changes and follow the change process in place. Let's change the rule and push the policy again. Notice that in the session there is only one change. When installing the policy, you will see that there are more changes. This is because all changes from point of the reverted policy, which was installed this morning, are still active on the security management server. After installing the policy, make sure that the problem has been resolved. We have shown you how to use policy revision within R80.10. Please come back soon for additional videos.